Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Andrew. So if you've seen in my Coffee Thoughts episode that I released recently, I am stepping away from YouTube. This is a pre-recorded video. I'm going to be releasing one video every Monday for the next 1 to 2 months. I'm not exactly sure how long, but it'll be at least a month, but up to 2 months. After 2 months, I will be back putting more effort into this. Just know if you do leave a comment, feel free to still leave comments. I probably won't see it until I get back. And I probably at that point won't respond to it, but I will read them to see what you guys have said. So today, what I decided I would do is I would go back to the questionnaire that I wrote for anyone that comes on my channel. I did a video where I released a quick version of that before I asked my brother Matthew, who is the first person on this channel, first special guest other than myself, obviously, and so I decided I would go back and I would answer these and give a full answer. This could be a very long video, by the way, and if you know, I get it if you don't have the time for that. I will timestamp each question so that you can just jump to what ones interest you if you want. And so let's get going. Cats or dogs? Both. Actually, I've never had a dog. We never owned a dog in our house. But we have had cats for as long as I've been around. I've also, we've had hamsters, fish. We had a lovebird, which is a small parrot. I love animals. Now, obviously, well, not obviously, but the more legs they have, the less I love them. When we get into 6 legs, I'm okay. Anything more than 6 legs, 8 legs, no. Centipedes, millipedes, stuff like that, no thank you. Not interested at all. Don't want it. Don't want to deal with that. Any of the creepy crawlies is just like, ugh. I'm not a big fan. But anything with less than that, if I ever get myself a house, it's going to be dangerous because I'm going to have a petting zoo. I will have a cat and a dog, no doubt. I also would love to own a snake and look after a snake, maybe some type of reptile. I would love to have a rabbit at some point, hedgehog. Like I would have a petting zoo. It would be horrible. I'm lucky in that my apartment building is pet friendly, so that I could have my cat, who is a big sucky, just loves attention cat for the most part. Sometimes, we all have moments, right? But generally he just loves the cuddle, and he's one of the sweetest temperament cats I've ever had. So I love it. So yeah, next, what is the one thing you just can't live without? Well, the obvious answer is food or water. But what I would say is the time I give myself to be creative every day. It's no secret that I've had mental issues. I've struggled with mental illness since grade 10. That was a long time ago. Was that like 14, 15, something like that? I'm 35 now. I've struggled for basically 20 years. And actually, I know I had it before then. That's just when it was originally diagnosed. At least 20 years of mental illness struggle. And I realized that I was trying to value myself based on the wrong things. And the things that I was trying to value myself on were just, you're always going to lose. And so I started to put value on other things like, my creativity. Now, I'm not really an artist by any means. I did used to actually play a musical instrument. I haven't played in forever. I thought about I used to play clarinet. I thought about getting a clarinet, but these walls are so thin I would piss everyone in the building off if I started playing it. I mean, I could, but I think I might wait until I maybe, if I can get a house at some point. But I do give myself time each day. I give myself at least an hour each day to be creative. And so that can be, I can do a number of things in that time period. Anything making videos, YouTube related, I consider creative, whether that's researching for my next video, whether that's how, starting to write the skeleton frame of that I write for some of my videos, including like stats and stuff like that, and points that I want to talk about, whether that's filming the video, editing the video, whatever it is. Also, I am currently writing what I think is going to be a short story. I don't think it's going to be long enough to be a novel by any means, but I have an idea for a trilogy of short stories, and they're hopefully, if I do them the way I want to do them, you could read one and then read it back and it'd be a completely different story, and then read the second one and read both back and both of them will be completely different stories, and then read the third one and read all of them back again and they will all be completely different stories yet again. I'm working on it. It's a crazy challenge, but I'm enjoying writing, and I also write poetry. I don't really share my poems with most people. I'm a little anxious about sharing them. Maybe if I get up the courage at some point on this channel, I will share one with you guys. But for now, I'm just gonna hold those close to my chest, as it were. And if I don't feel like doing any of that, I have a couple different coloring books, adult coloring books. I have some pencil crayons, and I just color. I listen to some music and I color. And quite honestly, that has helped center me on days that normally I would just be going insane. And so I make it a point to give myself that time each and every day. If you had a TARDIS and could travel to any one place in time, past or future, on Earth, where and when do you travel to? So if you're not aware, TARDIS is the time machine / spaceship that the Doctor uses in Doctor Who to get around. TARDIS is an acronym for Time and Relative Dimension in Space. Yes, I am a bit of a Whovian, a Doctor Who fan. I have two places and times. The first is ancient Rome, probably either during the reign of Julius Caesar or Augustus Caesar, when basically Rome was at its peak. Part of my plan for going to university was to become a high school teacher. Oh boy, how did that work out, Andrew? Spoiler alert, it didn't. It is what it is. It was probably a good thing that it didn't, actually. One of my teachables was going to be history, and the nice thing about the history was that instead of just taking like regular history classes, they allowed you to take a certain amount of classical history classes, which I actually enjoyed a lot more. It's a time period that I love. If you're not aware, classical history is ancient Greek, ancient Rome, with a little bit of ancient Egypt sprinkled in as well. And I love that time period. In my mind, it's a really cool time period in Earth's history. So that's where I would go. That's the first one. The second one is a bit of a two-parter. I would like to see when the Sphinx was actually first being built. I would just keep going back until it wasn't there, and then figure out when it was. There's a lot of debate right now as to exactly when it was built. Some people are saying it was built a lot later than we originally thought. Other people saying no, that evidence is ridiculous. I've seen the evidence. Some of it looks possible, at the very least. However, I would love to know definitively one way or the other. And along the same lines of that, I would go to when the pyramids were being built, the Great Pyramids of Giza, and see how those were built as well. All the way down to how did they cut the stones in the quarries? How did they get those giant stones then to the pyramids? How did they then put the stones onto the pyramids? Did they have some type of crazy technology that has been lost to time? I mean, it's possible. I think it's unlikely, personally. I think you can. The fact that you can do that with very simple tools and it still be possible is probably likely that that's how they did it. But who knows? Maybe I'm wrong about that. And going back, well, it would be definitive. Would I rather fight 100 duck-sized giraffes or one giraffe-sized duck? This one's easy. 100 duck-sized giraffes. And the reason for that is, so a giraffe-sized duck, although ducks are, fairly passive, it would be very hard to deal with that. You couldn't wrangle it in any way. It would be a very hard fight, in my opinion, especially if it was pissed off at you. A giraffe has two ways of injuring you. It has a very powerful kick. They've been known to put lions out of commission with their kick. End game for the lion, if you get what I mean. And they can swing their heads and swing their necks and whack you with their heads, essentially. And if they were duck-sized, those they would still probably hurt, but they wouldn't be deadly. It's not likely that they would be deadly anymore. Now, I get that 100 of anything is a lot to fight. However, I think that would be more manageable than trying to fight 100, or trying to fight a duck-sized giraffe. A giraffe-sized duck. If I could have any one superpower, which one would I choose? I've gone back and forth about this, even since answering this originally, actually. However, I think I'm still going to stick with the same one I chose then, which is instant teleportation. Now, you could get very, very lazy with this, and so I would have to put rules into place for myself about when and where to use this. I'm going to pretend like for this that you would have to know where you're teleporting. You would have to have seen it for yourself, because if you teleported somewhere, you wouldn't want to teleport into solid rock, for instance. So if you know the place, you can teleport to it. This would be great for errands and stuff like that. Pop there, grab your stuff, pop back. It would be very, very quick. I don't actually own a car, so I don't. When I'm going to pick something up, I have to walk home with it, so I have to be well aware of that limitation for myself. But it would be cool. It would also be cool because it would cut down on a lot of vacation. It would extend your vacation longer because you wouldn't have to deal with the time that you're in an airplane. You would just pop to whatever country. If I did have that power, I would slowly start saving up and then traveling to different countries, like normally traveling to them, and then just starting to get locations that I could teleport to in each country, maybe a couple locations depending on the size of the country, and that's how I would do it. From there, I could teleport whenever I wanted. So if I decided, I want English fish and chips, boom, there, no problem. That would be kind of cool. Now that would be a dangerous superpower to have. Although I think any superpower would be dangerous to have because you're likely to rely on it a little too heavily. I would have to make rules for myself. For instance, I would have to force myself to exercise, go on walks, stuff like that, because you would cut a lot of that off. One of the ways I maintain my both mental and physical health is I try to go on walk every day, a week, minimum of an hour. Sometimes it's a little less, but generally I try to make it at least an hour of walking. That's overkill, but if you walk 3 times a week for 30 minutes each, that's the equivalent of taking an antidepressant, by the way, for your mind. So that alone, and then I add the more for the physical workout. So I'd have to maintain that, but it'd be kind of cool to have instant teleportation. The Earth is going to be destroyed in less than a week. If money is no issue, what's the last big thing I would do? I would take a European holiday. I would love to rent for a day or two in an English cottage at the seaside somewhere, preferably not necessarily a more touristy area. I'd like this trip to be fairly quiet and peaceful, truth be told. Just spend time walking. I wouldn't just stay on the seaside. I would love to walk the moors and stuff like that in England and Scotland, and then I would travel to the Swiss Alps, maybe ski. I haven't skied in a long time, but I always enjoy skiing. And then after that, go to Italy and see the Mediterranean Sea. I've never actually been there. I've never seen the Mediterranean Sea, but it's something I would love to do, and just spend some time in Italy, enjoying some of the sights there. And then for the last couple of days, I would rent a boat, and I would stock it up with provisions, and I would just be on the water for the last couple of days, and really enjoy my last couple of days in peace and quiet. Sorry, just an alarm to remind myself of something. You're getting food delivered to you. What's your go-to order? Now, for this one, I have to be very careful for a number of reasons, actually. First of all, I am watching my diet so that I lose weight. Part of my New Year's resolution this year was to lose 30 pounds. I have to edit that resolution slightly at this point. I'm still I'm not losing weight. I'm gaining weight. However, I am still going down in pant sizes, which is a good sign, and there's a reason for that. I have been working out a lot more physically for strength conditioning and building muscle on my body, and muscle is heavier than fat, and so as I'm still burning the fat off, but I'm also gaining muscle, so my weight is going up. So I'm going to have to find a way to edit my resolution slightly, because it's hard to know exactly where I am weight-wise when I'm gaining weight, but still losing it in the right places, as it were, around my waist and my thighs and like that. So I'm gonna have to figure that out. I'll get back to you on that. But also, I have food sensitivities, unfortunately. We're still doing testing and stuff like this. There's no definitive answer yet. However, just with some self-testing that I've done, I'm probably and generally most of the professionals that I've talked to agree, it's probably a food sensitivity to some type of chemical preservative. If I eat certain things, I'll get an upset stomach, which isn't so bad. I mean, it's not great, but it is kind of it sucks a little bit. But the next couple of days, I will have like joint pain in every one of my joints, and it's not fun. It's fairly painful, and my body, for whatever reason, just is swelling. So generally speaking, for the most part, I make everything from scratch at this point. I use as little processed food as possible. I have not bought a box of anything in forever. Excuse me. So I do that. I'm also lactose intolerant, so I still use milk products. I have cream in my coffee right now. It's a little bit of cream. I'm careful about how much I use, although every now and again I still decide I want like an ice cream treat when it's my cheat day, and I always pay for it in the end. It is what it is. I've also reduced starch significantly. I have the only starch other than starch in vegetables, I only have rice occasionally. I don't eat potatoes. I don't eat flour. I'm not celiac, but I do find that I have a hard time processing flour. So I just figure it's easier to get rid of it. And I don't eat processed sugars. If I need to sweeten anything, honey or maple syrup, and generally honey. Although I find now that I'm used to it, and so I don't even need it anymore. The processed sugar was the hardest thing to get off. Oh my goodness. It's as addictive as cocaine. Yeah, I realize that now. I still get cravings. Now that being said, I do cheat. I do have cheat days, although I did cheat. I did cheat last month. I didn't cheat the month before that. I have the option to cheat if I want to, one day a month, and I set that day every month. It's the same day, and it's usually the third Saturday in the month. The weird thing is, even though I cheat, and generally it's one meal, I have a cheat meal. It can be whatever I want, and it can include dessert and that type of thing too. But I find now that because of my restrictive diet, my body's not used to it, and it hurts more now than when I started. So I'm still gonna cheat every now and again, but I haven't been cheating as often. It's not even been once a month anymore. But if I am going to order a cheat, generally speaking, it's going to be greasy pizza, probably from Pizza Hut. My favorite pizza is pineapple Hawaiian. Pineapple, no, it's Hawaiian. For those of you who think pineapple does not belong on a pizza, you are absolutely wrong, and get over it. But yeah, Hawaiian pizza from Pizza Hut is my go-to. What colored lightsaber would you use? This is a hard choice. There are a couple different colors. Some days it's red, just based on my feels. But the color I actually really like is pure white, like Ahsoka's lightsabers in The Mandalorian, the Disney series. I think it's just really cool. It's a fairly unique one. It's the story behind why hers are white or clear is kind of a cool story, and so I like that one. I also like the yellow ones that the library staff used. It's a real cool color as well for lightsaber. So yeah, one of those two, but generally like Ahsoka's white or clear, depending on how you look at them. I also love the dark saber and how that looks. Although that's not really a lightsaber, so I don't know if that would count or not. What's the biggest challenge facing humanity today? I have two. And one is a human issue, and one is not really a human issue, but humans will play a role. So the human issue one is I believe the identity politics and the great divide that it's causing. It's creating everything being binary. If you're not us, you're bad. If you're not good like us, you're bad like them. That gets rid of any nuance within any issue whatsoever, and it creates a great divide. You have to pick your side, supposedly. I am neither of those sides generally. I'm somewhere in the center. Like, meet me in the center. It's not a coincidence I picked that name for this channel. And I'm actually vilified by both sides because I won't choose them or the other. Because they can't handle that anymore, apparently. The problem with it is that if you're not us, you're against us, and at this point, instead of actually having a conversation and debate and sharing information and sharing ideas, people would rather just shut down all communication from anyone that doesn't agree with them, and so you lose any ability to handle issues. because generally speaking, the people in your group believing what you believe are going to think the same way you do, and so if an issue arises and you can't handle it, how is anyone else going to handle it in your group? The answer is they can't. But you've called the people on the other side of the aisle monsters and horrible people, and name X, Y, and Z. So why are they going to share with you at that point? So that's a big problem, and it's shutting down that communication. It's dividing. It's significantly dividing. We've always been polarized, but never this polarized, and it's just going to get worse and worse and worse until something just ignites. At least that's what I think is going to happen. And we're polarized on every issue these days. It's no longer like, well, you have to be Republican, you have to be Democrat for the states example, or like conservative liberal in Canada. It's more, you have to be liberal, you have to be trans friendly, you have to be feminist, you have to be this, you have to be that, you have to be this, and they keep adding more and more things you have to be so that they can exclude more and more people from the discussion. That's the whole point. It's to shut things down. It's to shut it down. Now the second issue. The second issue is not one that humans are going to be able to, I think, control. And the real danger, I believe, to humanity is not from within. I think that issue and other issues like it, societal issues, are going to make things awkward and harder for humanity. I don't think it's going to destroy humanity. What I think is going to destroy humanity is something from the universe. There are any number of ways. I've always enjoyed astronomy. I took astronomy at university as my science equivalent, essentially. It's a science class. It's a slightly easier science class for those who aren't necessarily huge sciencey people. Yeah, there are so many ways that we could die, and most of them we can't even prevent. There are types of energy beams that if they cross our paths, we're just fried. We're cooked, and there's nothing we can do. And we will never see them coming either. That's the great part. On top of that, there are comets, there are asteroids, there are lots of things in space that want to bombard our planet and do a lot of damage. Now there is some good news on that side of things, because there are a lot of resources on an asteroid. So it's very mineral rich, and private companies are now trying to figure out a way to capture an asteroid that comes close to Earth so that they can mine it, and hopefully that will also help prevent asteroids from hitting the Earth. If you can capture it, if you can move it, you can prevent it from entering Earth's atmosphere and crashing into the planet. I know that countries are working on this too. I wish that there was more communication between countries on this. I think that this is a worldwide problem. I get that not everyone's going to see eye to eye. It's going to be very hard, for instance, for USA and Russia or USA and China to get along long enough to work on something like this, but we need more of a defense for Earth than we have right now. This is our one rock floating in space. We don't have another yet. We don't have the capability of surviving on Mars yet. We don't even have anything in place that if the Earth was doomed, we could get anywhere. We wouldn't even be able to grow enough plants in space for everyone if we need to feed if we needed to feed everyone. So we need to work on defending the Earth from those hazards. But hey, we can't even agree on left and right issues. So how are we going to agree on something like this, right? And that's where the human part of this comes in. We need to realize that we only have one boat, and there are lots of things aimed at this boat of ours that we call Earth. So those are the two issues. It sucks, but I think there are ways to help prevent at least some of the stuff. Obviously, like I said, there are some types of energy waves and beams and stuff that if they hit us, we're doomed, and we just have to hope that they're not along our pathway. But there's definitely stuff we can do about the social issues, and I will eventually talk about those in videos. And last, if I won the lottery, how much do I get? Well, all of it, obviously. No, I'll change that question a little bit. How much would I give away? Well, it depends. A lot depends on how much I win. If it's like $1 million, a couple million, you don't get that amount anyway. You get a portion of that. Tax takes some. If you want the full amount, you have to take them in payouts in smaller chunks, or you can settle for a smaller lump sum. So if it's a small amount, let's say a couple $1 million or so, I'd give a little bit to my brother to help him out. I have a couple friends that I'd probably help out a little bit. A lot of that money would go into buying a house and buying a car, a reliable car, not like a supercar or anything like that. And I don't need a crazy mansion either. I'm one person. A 2-bedroom is more than enough. It would allow me to set up a gaming area and a YouTube recording area, and that would be great. Maybe get some cool cameras and stuff to record on, so that I'm not using webcam anymore. But other than that, I would just invest a lot of it, hopefully to make me money for the foreseeable future that I can live off of. If it was way more than that, obviously I'd be much more willing. I only need a couple million. I probably wouldn't even need a couple million for what I want to do. Like I said, really I just need to buy a house, buy a car, and invest some, and the rest I would be okay with. Maybe leave a little bit of chunk in the bank, and the rest I would be okay with just, helping people that I know need help. So the more it is, obviously, the more I can give away. I would definitely donate to certain charities. So that would be that. And that is it. This has been a long video, but I've enjoyed talking about this stuff. So I will see you when I get back from my helping my sick family members. And until then, I'll see you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.